Welcome to the Main Street Minute with equestrian marketing expert India Wilkinson. This is the destination for all things equestrian, from horse sales, breeding, horse health, and a look into the intricacies of the horse business world. Join India as she dives in with industry leaders to discuss the challenging and rewarding lifestyle of being in the equestrian world. And get ready for the Main Street Minute.
Hi there, this is India Wilkinson with the Main Street Minute, and I am super excited to welcome Juliana Chapman today with the Tech Equestrian. And Juliana, I met you because you reached out to me a couple of years ago when Main Street Market was kind of in its infancy, and you wrote an article on Main Street Market for WEC magazine, which was pivotal for us. That was amazing. And then you and I have become such good friends, and I love your blog and I love the articles that you put out there because tech has actually become a big thing in the equestrian world. So tell us about the Tech Equestrian and how you started it.
Thank you so much, India. This is so amazing. I really appreciate you inviting me to your podcast. Yes, obviously, as you mentioned, technology is very much important in the world, and now it's entering the horse world. So I looked at creating the blog. Actually, my anniversary is December 2017, so it's now been 8 years. But when I created the blog and when I thought about it, I actually thought about it years before that. And the reason for that is my background is technology marketing. I've done writing, I've written books, and then I obviously have been a lifelong equestrian. So I knew, like combining all those talents in my background, that eventually technology would become part of the horse world. And it was just a matter of time. And the company that I worked for at the time, the CEO would say every company is a technology company. And that was like 10 years ago. And to me, that applied to all industries as well, obviously the horse world. So my goal with the blog was to create an online resource for equestrians to really get educated on the technology solutions for horses. And then obviously one thing I've learned about technology is that change is constant, and everybody sees this for the most part day to day, and you're always learning. Like you really have to stay on top of things and keep educating yourself on what's new. And there's a lot of great ways to do that. So that's kind of my goal with the blog, was to create that as a learning resource for equestrians, just because I know, especially with tech, things are coming up quick, fast, a lot of changes. And I'll give examples of that as I review some of the big horse tech providers that are out there.
Yeah, that would be great because, I mean, just being on technically the tech side of the equestrian world with Main Street Market, I'm hyper aware of all of the new companies that are out there. And to me, it's super exciting. But just to go back a little bit, this is not your full-time job. You have a full-time job and you also ride. So this is something that you're doing, you're carving time to do this. And I know how much you love it.
I do. I really love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I definitely do.
I love that about you because I've learned about a lot of new companies through you. So, okay. So like I said before, I personally have seen a huge increase in tech companies in the equestrian world from all over the place. Like things that I was like, oh, I didn't even think about, there's an app for that.
Yes.
And so it's been really exciting to watch that. But what are like the biggest changes that you're seeing in behavior? Because like, and I mean this with great respect because I am one, but I would say like changing equestrian, our behavior is like turning a cruise ship, trying to do a U-turn with a cruise ship. I mean, really.
That's a good analogy.
Because we're like, this is how we do it. And it's like, well,
Right.
it doesn't work that way anymore. It's like, I don't care. This is how we do it. I think we're typically like, we're just kind of creatures of habit and we like to keep things the same. So that's what I've seen, a big change in tech, that people are changing their behavior. So what are some of the biggest changes you've seen?
So this is a great question. I love this. I'm actually going to start with the three A's. So it's really adoption, AI, and affordability. Those are kind of the three big things that I've seen in the last few years. Adoption really got started very quickly, very rapidly during the pandemic because a lot of horse owners didn't have the ability to see their horses as much as they used to. So they had time to kind of research some of the solutions out there, some of the ways to stay in touch, to monitor their horses, learn more about how they can communicate better with barn managers, etc. So the pandemic really did a fast forward with that. And then AI, we hear about it all the time now, and there's a reason for that. It really is going to be transformative and in a good way. Don't think of it as replacing your trainers and all that you know. It's really going to kind of give more of a lens to ways of giving you more data and more information to make your life with your horse so much better. It'll give you more time to focus on what you enjoy doing with your horse. And there's a lot, we could spend a whole podcast on just AI itself. Um,
Maybe we will.
I know that's part two. And I'm starting to see a lot of the horse tech providers are incorporating that in their solutions. So I'll give you an example of that when I go through them. And then lastly, under the A's is affordability. Like it's so great to see, and I encourage a lot of equestrians to try the free trials that are out there for a lot of the apps. And there's a lot of programs that offer nominal subscription fees. Like you
Mhm.
don't have to break the bank to educate yourself and use these tools. So that's really exciting. So those three A's, big changes, all good. And then lastly, of course, choice. There are so many great options out there. And with that, and the reason the blog is great and I'm always interviewing new people, but I also feel like I worry it's overwhelming. So I actually created a page on my blog that's called Paddock Players, and it actually identifies and categorizes these horse tech providers by specialty. So, and we'll go through kind of each of the categories and my favorites on each. But that's really exciting. I mean, as an equestrian, you should be like, wow, this is great. There are so many solutions out there. And you have to keep in mind it's all based on your need and your goals. Like, just don't get too overwhelmed. Like, it's just, there's just a lot of choice, but it's all good. So I just want to encourage people to, again, kind of educate themselves on that.
I love that. And I think like the things that you're saying, the affordability, because that was one of my primary focuses with Main Street Market that, someone can advertise their horse for a month less than it would cost to go through the drive-through for a fancy coffee. And that
Exactly.
that will not change. And that's something that we'll be bringing in other components to Main Street Market, but that basic listing will not change. And I want to keep that affordable. And I love that you break down the categories and your favorites on your blog. I love that because it can get overwhelming. And when you can
Yeah.
look through that and to see
Mhm.
what, you've kind of already done the vetting for the
Mhm.
ones that are, there's a lot of stuff out there that probably isn't that great,
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
it's awesome that you've brought to the forefront the ones that you've already vetted, that you like and that you
Mhm.
recommend. So
Fine.
while we're talking about that, let's jump right in. And
Okay.
let's talk about your top 10. And
Okay.
there might be more, but just for time's
Mhm.
sake, we're going to keep it to your top 10. And why
Sure.
don't you share with us those?
Okay. Great. I'm going to go in alpha order by category. So I'm going to highlight obviously some of the top ones in each category, but by no means does it dismiss the other solutions under each category. Again, like I said, horse tech must match your unique needs and your goals at the end of the
Love it.
day. So the first category is barn management. Barn management it's a very crowded category. I think we've got about 8 solutions there. So what I did is I recommend 2 solutions, and one is based on being a veteran solution, so they've been in the market for a while, and the other is more of a newcomer and kind of a one to watch, which again, it kind of goes into my paddock players idea. Where you are in the paddock is
I love
is
it.
kind of how you dominate, if you're a leader or not, if you're the alpha mare or the stallion.
In language that we can actually
I know.
understand. I love it.
We could have so much fun with that. Anyway, so my veteran solution is Stable Secretary. The reason for that is they have 4 different plans. So again, it gets into like what matches your needs, how you can customize it. It includes billing. They have a mobile app. It's got calendar functionality, which I think is so critical. And a lot of the top show barns across disciplines, so hunter barns, show jumping, eventing, use it. So, for instance, Amanda Steege from Ash Meadow Farm, she uses it. Team Irwin Dressage, and then Blue Clover Eventing. So they're all, they've been using it a while. It's been in business since the late 2000s. Stable Secretary was probably one of the first horse tech providers I interviewed. Great background, and an equestrian created it. So again, highly recommend. But there are a lot of great ones out there. You have to really kind of shop around a bit. And then the newcomer, and I have to say this, I haven't interviewed them, but I'm very impressed with what they have on their website and some of the new technology they're incorporating. It's called Equicity. It's Equicty. They offer a free trial. They incorporate visuals that allow for a smart stable barn. So think of like getting rid of the whiteboards. This would all be digital, touchscreen type functionality, which is super cool. And then I love this. They have what they call Hoofy, and Hoofy is the first AI stable assistant for professional horse and stable management. And it analyzes your stable's data into actionable strategies. I love that
That's
so
cool.
much. Yeah. So anyway, those are the two I love. But again, it's a hard category to pick my favorite. So the next one is buying and selling, and Main Street Market tops the board on this one for
Well,
obvious
thank you.
reasons. I think, there's a bunch of reasons. I actually have an account on your site. I am, in the market for looking for a new horse, so I've already created I use the advanced filtering, which I love.
Mhm.
The Geo Select. I mean, there's a bunch of filters, and I save my favorites. I love the consistency of the horses and ponies and such that you have on the portal, because the photos, the videos, the descriptions, they're solid. Like there's like one horse description isn't worse than the other. You know what I mean? Like it's so well done. And I feel like you coach them on what to put out there. And it's so refreshing to read that and to see all those videos and supporting materials with it. So anyway, I'm a huge fan. I love the
Thank you. And I just
consistency
want
of
to
it.
interject
Yeah. Go
because
ahead.
again, I built that the way I w- I
Yes.
was like, if I'm going to build it the way that I want to shop,
Hmm.
and also how I'd want to sell. And I
Yes.
do through the listing process, I do offer suggestions. I've learned over the years, like
Sure.
people actually really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Some of them don't take
Hmm.
me up on it, and that's okay too.
Right.
But I think that that is something we get complimented on that a lot, the quality.
Yes.
I'll message them and say, hey, our network really appreciates a confirmation photo and, a higher quality. We don't like video screenshots,
Hmm.
and I explain how the ad should read.
Hmm.
So, I'm hoping that there are other founders out there that will listen to this and understand like your
Hmm.
network, your customer actually wants you to help them. They want you to guide them.
Yes.
So do that, because
Yep.
I
Yep.
love hearing that from the end user that it makes a difference because I think it does too. So
Yeah, it's
thank you.
great. And then obviously I love that the amount of social media exposure for each of the horses that are for sale or for lease is top notch. You do such a great job with that.
Thank you.
So I love it. And I also as a woman in business, you're a woman in business, like you have the business background, but you're an equestrian, like you bring a lot to the table. And it shows. It's such a great product. So
Thank you. Aw.
yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So the next category is community. This is an interesting one. And, over the years, it's a tricky category because what happens with most solutions in that category, they try to be like a social community and bring everybody together. but they also obviously need to generate revenue. So they become something else as they try to, define themselves. So I'm sure you've seen Cheval is kind of the new social platform out there. And they're calling themselves the premier equestrian social community. But I'm also seeing them kind of trend towards a marketplace. So that's really interesting. They have a huge presence on social, on LinkedIn, etc. They're offering this centralized directory and database, and the platform serves as a comprehensive resource for finding stables, trainers, and fellow riders. So again, it's an interesting concept. It's a little too broad, and I see them kind of gravitating towards the marketplace. But I give them kudos for getting out there, and I know that they're spending a lot of time on, making a name for themselves. So.
Yeah, I know you didn't ask for my opinion, but um, since it's my podcast, I'm going to give it to you. I've watched them. It is very interesting. They definitely cater to more, a young, I mean, I
Mhm,
would say a younger, trendier audience
mhm,
that does love the perfect, glossy, kind of odd angle um,
mhm,
content. I
mhm,
haven't quite been able to figure out the functionality of it. So I think they're doing a great job of drawing people in. So
mhm.
it's interesting to watch.
It
I
is.
mean,
Yeah.
I am definitely fascinated by them.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, they're doing a good job with that. So they will be an interesting one
Yeah.
to watch for sure.
Definitely. All right. Next category is competition scoring and data. Um, this has huge potential when it comes to the world stage, equestrian sport. Equa Ratings, they're based in Ireland. They cover a lot of the high profile jumping and venting shows. They actually partner with FEI, British Eventing, and US Equestrian. And their tagline is data that drives sport. So what they do is they cover the stats on all the horses and riders, and then they fuel kind of the campaigns around these events. So it builds more like, people that are really, spectators and horse enthusiasts. It really builds that brand for each of these types of shows. So
Interesting. Okay.
like again, it's around data. They could probably do a lot with AI, which they probably are already doing. The percentage of this horse and rider of winning the competition is this percent. Like it's that kind of data that they put out there. Or this team will do better, like the US will do better than the Brits, or vice versa, depending on the, type of
So
horses they have.
is
Yeah,
their platform all based on individual scores at shows and
it
then
is.
also team scores
Yeah.
at
Yep. Yep.
international type
Yep.
of FEI events?
And then they aggregate all that data,
Oh,
based
wow.
on how the horses perform, how the team performs. Yeah, it's really, again, I think this has huge potential
Yeah,
to really be, and I'm sure I think they did a lot with the Olympics too.
that sounds really
So,
fascinating.
so
Yeah.
definitely follow them.
Okay.
They do a lot with social. I added another vendor here only because I just interviewed her, and she's in the beta stage right now. It's called Equiscore, and they're a newcomer. They're going to do more like video analysis of your rounds.
Oh,
And again, incorporating that data. So then, as a rider, you'll have all the stats and you'll have a better sense of, how you do in a certain environment with a certain horse. There's so many ways you can slice it. So look for that blog post probably in January, February when
yeah.
the
That
beta
sounds
goes
really
live.
cool.
Yeah. So that one's called Equiscore. So super cool stuff. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of anything data oriented.
Yes, I know you are.
The next category is horse health and management. Again, there's a lot happening here, obviously. But my tried and true, and I actually have an account with the Equestrian app. Um, it's a gentleman named Patrick Husting. He actually was a developer at Microsoft many years back, and has, gone on to create many startups. So he has a really heavy tech background, but he also has like three horses. And it's his app, the Equestrian app. It offer the functionality on this app is like off the charts, and it's low cost. He's always adding a lot of new features, and
What's
it's
the app's name? What's the app name?
the Equestrian app.
The Equestrian app. Okay.
Yeah. And it's one of those where it's barn management, it's horse health, it's horse management. Like there's so much in there, and it's very low cost. It's amazing. And I actually recommend it a lot to just new barn managers type thing. But again, it's one of those apps that it's fully functional, but it kind of lives in the horse health and management only because it's a heavy influence on that
Okay.
part. So yeah. So check that one out. I mean, like I said, I could spend so much time on all these categories. We could do a podcast on each category.
And again,
Um,
maybe we will.
the next one is horse show client management. I'm sorry, clinic management. So there's horse shows like event management software, and then there's clinics that people run at their stables, etc. There's kind of two players in the high profile event management software space that are really making a name for themselves. I don't know if you've heard of Pegasus
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
and
love to follow Pegasus.
yeah, Pegasus and HorseSpot. And what's really interesting is they're both led by like family teams. Like,
Okay.
so Pegasus is a husband and wife, it's Sam and Jen. And then HorseSpot is husband and wife and brother. So Michael Christopher, who's married to Lindsay.
Okay.
So they're kind of these like family teams that created these solutions. It's super cool. Um, and as anybody who's, been to a horse show, all of the back end, paperwork you have to fill out and the class schedules. Like there's a lot of ways to make that digital and make it seamless. And both those options, both those horse tech vendors are doing a great job with it. Again, I'd probably take an hour. We could go through all the functionality on it, but they're both great. And then I also want to mention Strider. Strider's been in the industry for a while, and they do a great job with clinic management. I've interviewed them a couple times. They're amazing to work with and just great solution for if anybody's looking to do any type of clinic, they kind of manage it from A to Z.
I've seen Strider a lot in the
Yeah.
eventing world.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
really popular for
Mhm.
eventers.
Yeah.
And so I'm big on LinkedIn. I love
Mhm.
LinkedIn because
Sure.
it's in the last 2 years, I've been on it for a long time, but I finally equestrian businesses are on LinkedIn. And what I love about it, it's just business to business.
Oh, yeah.
you don't have to worry about algorithms and all the things
Mhm.
people expect you to talk about your business. But with that, I love the posts from Sam on Pegasus. He really
Yes.
asks very interesting and
Mhm.
thought-provoking questions,
He does.
and he
Mhm.
does a fabulous job
Yep.
of I've
Yep.
learned a lot from his posts
I
and
know.
from the comments. So,
Yeah.
you know, like a step above just, like the equestrian business, I really feel like Pegasus is taking this to a whole nother level.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know him and I don't know anything about their goals, but you can just see that they really think on a much higher level, and really want to bring the equestrian world with them. So
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
yeah.
they're amazing. I'll definitely introduce you to them. They come to Wellington quite a
Okay.
bit. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I'd love that.
make that happen. So the next category is rider fitness. I won't spend much time on this only because again, we could go through each one. There's probably about four or five out there. However, I'm sure there's more. I'm partial to hay bales and barbells.
I've seen them on
Um,
social. Yeah.
yeah, she does a great job. I did an article on her for WEC magazine actually. I featured kind of all of the rider fitness solutions out there. She does a great job, great tips, ways to stay fit in the saddle. Yeah, there's so much there that I highly encourage people to check it out.
Okay.
And again, it's a subscription model. I think you pay monthly or however, but she's got, a couple ways you can pay for it and get a lot out of it. Yeah, that one's cool. The next one is one of my favorites. It is rider training. So it's different than fitness. Rider fitness is just the equestrian, how to stay fit. Rider training is how the rider works with their horse in the saddle, as a combination. This is a really tough category because there's so many great solutions. It's really tough to pick, but I am partial to Ridely app. They really pull in like top tier trainers across the world, a lot of Olympians, a lot of, champion riders and trainers. And I love how all the categories they have. There's even like better ways to groom your horse from top groomers. Like,
Hmm.
it's just, there's all the disciplines in there. They've got, jumping, equitation, Western, dressage, eventing, everything's in there, and they do such a great job with it. So that's Ridely. But I'm also a huge fan of Ride IQ.
Yeah.
They have real-time instruction capabilities. So, and I think both solutions are really adding in the whole AI aspect where, based on what you select, it's going to serve up content based on what your interests are. So when you keep going back to the app, it'll say, "Hey, you just rode this jumping technique. I think you should check out this trainer that's doing
Wow.
this." So
That's pretty cool.
so that's the kind of where we're headed with that. Yeah.
I've seen the difference with Ridley. They seem to be more of an international
Mhm.
platform.
Yes.
They're actually one of our partners at Main Street Market. They advertise with us, and I really love their founder. I've
Yeah.
gotten to know her, and they just won a big award and I think they do these in London, the Equestrian Business Award.
Yes, they did.
But they are more on, I mean, I we need that in the US. Maybe you
I
and I need to
know.
start
I
that.
know. You should.
But I saw that they won a tech award. And then I love the girls from Ride IQ. You and I have seen them a couple of years
Yeah.
at the Equestrian Businesswomen's networking event. And, they're just wonderful people
They
and
are.
they're scrappy.
Yeah.
They saw a need and they figured out
Mhm.
a solution and they have really done a fabulous job.
Yes,
Yeah, love both of those apps.
they're
I
great.
agree.
All right, we get two more categories.
All right.
Trying to be quick.
No, you're good.
So services, again, another crowded category. One that's, it offers so much for horse owners, trainers, service providers. I'm highlighting two of them. One's kind of a veteran service provider. It's Equo. That's EQUO. So they're kind of the Uber of the horse world. And they've been around a while. They're kind of one of the first horse tech pioneers. And the thing I love about them is they really understand their market. They do a lot of high-end show horses, but they've kind of branched out. But if you need a horse from DC to Florida, go on the app, put in, travel time, needs, how many horses, all that. They'll get you a quote. Their drivers are all certified.
That's
And
cool. I haven't heard of that.
yeah,
That's
and you
amazing.
can, and there's an actual, once that your horse is starting transport, you can track it, the GPS tracker. I'd love to see this type of solution kind of combined with video surveillance. So, and maybe they have it, I haven't checked yet, but then you could not only see where your horse is en route, but you can actually see them in the trailer.
That's cool. Yeah.
So,
That sounds like an obvious next step for.
yeah, yeah. So that's kind of amazing. But yeah, check them out, Equo. And then the newcomer is, and I just did a blog article on Equigate, and they are an ideal solution for service practitioners. So, like my massage therapist for my horse, she uses them and she schedules everything through the app. So I get alerts through the app when she,
How cool.
yeah. So, and the other cool thing too is that it provides like templates of the anatomy of the horse. So if my horse has issues with her shoulders or whatever, Shannon, who's my massage therapist, she can go in on the app and just click on it. And then that sends me a detailed report like right away. Like it's just automatic and it's already like done. It's like a template. It's
Okay,
so cool.
I love that because there's so many times that you
Mhm.
can't be at the barn when your horse
Right.
is getting worked on. And
Yes.
then
Yeah.
usually they, I mean, this, they it's pretty antiquated the way it's, they leave you a drawing, but you
Right.
don't actually get to, I love that real time and to
Oh,
see that. And it's so much easier for them too, I would think. Save so
yeah.
much time. That's
It's a
amazing.
it's a game changer. So check them
That's
out. It's
cool.
Equigate.
Equigate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're on my blog. I think it was last month. So, all right, last category. I saved the best for last. Wearables.
Wearables. All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. So this is really exciting because I haven't seen this in a while, but we're starting to see mainstream providers. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Garmin. Garmin has the
Yes.
smartwatches. They do a
Yes.
lot in the tech space
GPS. Yeah.
for, athletes, etc. and GPS
Yeah.
exactly. So they just introduced a couple months ago a wearable for horses, and it's called Blaze Equine Wellness System. It's basically attaches to the horse's tail, and it's got a biometric sensor in the actual device. So what that does is it measures heart rate, strides, gait, skin temperature, and there's a bunch of other things
Wow.
it measures. Now you pay the retail amount, it's like $600 for the device, and then you just sync it to the app. So you get all the data that way.
Can you use it on multiple horses?
Good question. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a really good
Yeah.
question. I've reached out to them because I'd love to interview them and find out. I'm sure there's a way you could probably have it identify which horse you're putting it
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Anyway, just seeing that, it's so exciting to see that kind of these mainstream providers are seeing the market for the horse world is kind of the next step
Yes.
for them. So that's super exciting. And then the other thing too I like is they're kind of creating that ecosystem. A lot of the smart retailers are doing that where this also pairs with the smartwatch. So if you want to wear that watch and then put the tail device, and you're going to get that real-time data as you ride. So you don't even have to wait to like check your cell phone for the app and to get all the measurements.
That is very cool. All
Wow.
right.
Wow.
So to wrap this up,
Hmm.
what would you say is your favorite thing about riding for the tech equestrian?
Oh gosh. Definitely a couple things, but the first and foremost, I love, no doubt, interviewing all the horse tech providers. Like I always ask them, what's their horse background? Like
Yeah.
how did you what got you to this point? What made you so passionate and driven to create something very new in this space? So spending time and telling their story on the blog is just, it's so great. I love it. I love it so much. And then I really like when people reach out to me, like yourself, and have me kind of tell the story of what's happening out there and what's coming. I've been on webinars. I have another webinar coming up in February for Equestrian Professional.
Yes. I
Um,
love that. I love them.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to talk about how technology is a differentiator for your business. So that'll be really fun. And then just, I spoke at Equine Affair last spring in Ohio. And yeah, it's just really exciting and kind of spreading the word, being an evangelist out there in the
Yes,
industry.
that's got to be really rewarding because you are so good with people and you do ask such great questions. And I think not, beyond just, hey, here's this technology, but you do get to the root of how that founder created it. And I am so fascinated by the whys and how especially equestrian companies, but like I love Shark Tank and I love How I Built This with Guy Raz. That's like my favorite podcast ever.
Mhm.
And to really hear the stories behind that, because really what it boils down to for all of us, including you,
Mhm.
is that you saw a need or you had your own need
Right.
and you created a solution. And I think that's just it's really what unites all of us as business founders, that we saw something in the market that either needed revision or
Mhm.
updating or just that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I love hearing other people's challenges and successes. And there's something very unique about our equestrian community and the support that we have for each other, regardless if we consider someone a competitor or not. But we really do want to cheer each other on. And you do a great job of connecting all of us. So we need
Thank
to
you.
have that tech summit that you've talked about.
Oh yeah, that's definitely on my wish list.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Well, thank
thank you
you.
so much for being here today. I know our listeners are absolutely just going to love this episode of the Main Street Minute, and we will see y'all next time. And Juliana, thank you again for being here.
You're welcome.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please let us know. Email support@mainstreetmarket.com. Please share and join us again next week for another episode of the Main Street Minute, right here on the Equus Radio Network.